Hello, welcome to Evans Mill. I'm Jason, your executive chef. Today we're going to be bringing you one of William's favorite vegetables.
That's right.
The celery. Yeah, I hated celery when I was a kid. But the only thing, I can't look at celery now or mess with celery now unless I think of Miss Ann. Miss Ann was our 5th grade science teacher, and she showed us how you could cut celery and then stick it down into some food colored water, and we usually use red. And then the next day, the celery would suck up the red food coloring, and it was really super cool for a 5th grader. Probably still today. I need to try that. But today we're going to bring you celery. Celery is like super versatile. We can use celery in just about anything, and we do use it in lots of things. But you can cut it up lots of different ways depending on what you're going to do. So let's get started. We got our celery here. And depending on what you're going to do, so if I'm going to use this whole head of celery, then I will usually cut it off down here at the bottom and then go wash that. You'll see you'll get a lot of dirt down here in this bottom section. So you want to cut that off and then wash it off really good. If you're not going to use the whole bunch of celery, I like to just kind of pull off one rib. Or if I need a couple ribs, pull off a couple of them, then go wash them. Because the celery, if you're not going to use it all at once, that will hold up better in your fridge if you kind of keep that root end attached.
Hey Jason, is there anything else you can do to keep the celery fresh beyond just that?
I like to keep it in the bag, like a little bit in the bag. I find when it's exposed to the cold, it'll wilt much faster. So if you give it just a little bit of protection, and I typically, a lot of times it'll come with a rubber band around it. I'll kind of leave that together. I think that helps hold its moisture in there, so it doesn't dry out as easily.
Not to take the limelight away from you, I found that wrapping a paper towel around within that plastic bag, I think keeps the crispness going on it. But anyway.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sure, William, that sounds great.
Any way to kind of protect that from the super cold hitting it, I think, and drying it out. Like in a fridge, you have really low humidity. All right. So let's see, cutting up celery. So let's do, what are we going to do first? So we're going to cut. I usually take off. You can see these are still dirty. Let's use the ones I already washed. That'll be nicer. And all the celery leaves in the middle, those go good in your salad dressings. I like to, just chop those up, put those in like blue cheese dressing. That's great. Also, if we're going to dice celery for soup, that's probably what I do the most with it. What I like to do, a lot of times you'll see people like cutting it all the way down. At home, if you want to, cut that in half first. It makes it a whole lot easier to get the size that you want. So you're not having to cut along that whole rib of celery. That's kind of hard to do. So you can cut your little strips, and then we can got our bear claw, knife, and cut that up nice and small. Ta-da. So we could use that in some soup. If you want it bigger, like your roast, doing like beef stew, you could do some bigger pieces like that. Sometimes when we're doing like a vegetable tray, you always see them doing like sticks of celery, which I have to say annoys me to no end. I could think of some other things to say. Because celery has all these little strings in there, like that. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not. But that always just annoys me, because that's really hard to chew, right? So celery sticks, I don't usually do that. When I'm doing a vegetable tray, let's get a nice one here. I tend to make something, you can cut that on the bias, just from the whole rib. So you're getting shorter strings, so it's a little easier to chew, but you've also got something you can dip in the dip. So that's what I like to do if I'm doing a veggie tray. Call that a bias cut. You could also kind of cut it on the bias from a different direction, which you'll see in like stir fries, where you kind of turn it on the angle and cut it like that. And that's kind of nice and long, but again, you got short strings. Those strings are cut kind of on the bias there. So that's good in stir fry. What else? William, how do you like to cut your celery?
I don't cut it, I just eat it whole.
You just eat it whole.
That's right.
You're like a rabbit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only in that way.
Only. All right, I think that's about all I got for you on celery today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time at Evans Mill.